Just appreciate you guys being here. Really appreciate our fans coming out today. I know it was a full weekend for them, so it was great to see such a great turnout. And it's always good to get a bounce back win. The last 48 hours have been probably pretty mentally, emotionally draining. And so it was good to see the way our girls leaned in and found a way to get a win today.
Just off the bat, I mean, how big is, obviously it's big, but I mean, having a 2020 game from Aijha, how big is that to bounce back? It's hard to see the upperclassmen players kind of take charge like that.
Yeah, really happy for her, but not surprised. I think she was really efficient offensively. She took really good shots for her. She's probably going to look at her free throws and think, golly. I just think it was really efficient. I thought our leadership in that locker room was really outstanding. I know Aijha takes a lot of pride in that rebounding. I think that's probably more important to her than her points. She doesn't care who gets the points, but she gets a little selfish with the rebounds, and we need her to. Like that's a good place to be selfish because she's so dominant on the boards. So pretty special night for her for sure.
And just the postgame in general, it seemed like in the first half too, you're kind of getting whatever you want, kind of looks-wise. I mean, there was a lot of high percentage shots you were getting, but what did you think about the postgame today overall?
I felt like, I think, like I said, last 48 hours were rough. They really were, and I know yesterday we didn't practice. We were in the locker room for a long time watching film. I know we had some disappointment. I think there was a pretty big hangover from that Baylor game, and we didn't have the practice prep that we needed going into Missouri State's game, and then it came back to bite us. And again, not taking anything away from them, but I didn't feel like that was the same Missouri team that, I'd been surrounded by for the last 6 months. And there was so much that we could have done better. And forget the X's and O's, but just the leaning in, the encouragement, the touches, they've leaned into adversity. We've been in adverse situations before, and we fought. We were gritty. And I just felt like we looked so flat against Missouri State and fatigued. And so yesterday we wanted to use that time more in the classroom, more in the locker room and film session than on the court. And, just had to own some things, had to look ourselves in the mirror and say, is this who we want to show up and be every day? And so proud of just the realness, conversations that took place. And that can be emotional. That can be hard. But we came back and actually didn't have a shoot around this morning, just really trying to be mindful of their time and legs and just the mental part of it. And I was proud of them. I know today was going to be a tough game for us just because of the emotions over the last 48 hours, but I felt like they did what they needed to do to make sure we got a win.
I mean, what does it mean for you guys just to bounce back the way you did and get a win after those 2 straight losses?
Yeah, I think it was, obviously really important for us, and I'm not surprised. Like I said, I think these guys would agree, but I don't know who that team was at Missouri State. That is not us. That is not who we've showed up to be in practices and games and for the last 6 months. And so it was just disheartening. It just left a bad taste in all of our mouths. But another thing we talk about is resiliency and being able to move on. And as hard as it is, we have to practice what we preach. And so these guys did a tremendous job, I thought, of rallying the troops and making sure we were in a good place to, put the next foot in front of the next and mission first. And, our mission this year wasn't about beating Missouri State. You want to. They're a really good team. You want to. But the mission is so much bigger than that. And so we'd had to just remind ourselves of what we're trying to get done this year. And I think these guys did a great job from a leadership standpoint with that.
Aijha, what does it mean for you to have such a great performance tonight?
Well, it means a lot. I mean, I guess because just putting the work in, just seeing the numbers, but it was a fun night. That's all I can say for our team.
You've turned into a really tenacious rebounder. Your coach Pingeton said that she has to be selfish, and you have to be selfish. What does that kind of mean with your teammates, and do they have the understanding that you're really going for those boards?
Yeah, I think my teammates just know, my passion for rebounding, so I guess shout out to them for allowing me to go get boards, but just being selfish, just being relentless, I would say, and just snatching that ball out the rim.
Hayley, when the postgame started to work a little bit, it kind of opened you a little for kickouts and for threes. And How did you feel in those situations too, just kind of the rotation and how the post was working to get open shots too?
I mean, it feels great when the posts are looking for kickouts because that's kind of where my game thrives is just, they can draw and create for me. So just huge shout out to them for getting me going in the first half.
And we're all mentioning getting over the Missouri State game. As a leader at the locker room, where do you start with that as you kind of try to mentor the younger players?
I mean, like Coach P said, it was some tough conversations. It was just sickening to watch that game film yesterday. So everyone just kind of had to own it. But then I think after the fact for the leaders of our team, it was big that we just kind of then raised kind of got back to a positive feeling, just breathing confidence into our teammates, especially the underclassmen, and just making sure we stepped up and was ready to play today with when we came in with the mentality that we just want to go out and have fun and get back to playing together and free and just leaving it all out on the floor.
Coach Pingeton, both Hayley and Aijha played over 32 minutes tonight. Was that a decision just based on the game getting closer, or do you expect your leaders to play most of the game throughout the quarters?
I would have liked to have seen them maybe not play quite so many minutes, to be honest with you. I knew that, it's just, like I said, the last 48 hours have been pretty fatiguing, mentally, physically, emotionally, and was hoping we went pretty deep into our bench in that first half, and at times in the second half, but as the game got closer, it's hard to not have them on the court. They've been through the trenches, understand what it takes, and just want to make sure we didn't put ourselves in a position that we'd have any regrets.
Coach, with just a couple non-conference games, I don't want to look too far ahead, but in preparation for the conference play with the upcoming 2 games, what do you want to see fixed, especially as you kind of look back and want to get over that Missouri State game? I know you mentioned all the things that you saw and whatnot, but what do you look for?
Yeah, we got to do a better job with our transition defense. We've got to do a better job of not putting opponents on the free throw line. We've got to do a better job of being a little bit more relentless on the offensive end with our rebounding. Our spacing's got to get better. Our ball reversals have got to get better. Our shot selection, has got to get better. We got a lot of work to do, and we're supposed to have a lot of work to do. It's December. But the reason why I am so confident in the ceiling for this team is it's the most real team, I think, one of the most real teams I've ever been a part of. And we watch film and our ability to really try to be coachable and understand and ask questions and try to apply that information has been really, really on point this year. And I think when you have a growth mindset of, I want feedback, how do we fix this, how do we clean this up, how do we get better in this area, I think you got a chance to do something really special. I think with the motion offense as a coach, sometimes it can be really frustrating because you give up so much control to your players and you trust the preparation and the practice. And so at times when it's a little stagnant and the ball's not getting moved, it can get a little bit frustrating. But I think you've seen times when our movement's been outstanding. And I'm just anxious for that game. We haven't had it yet this year, but there's a lot of firepower. I never thought we'd have a game where everybody just went cold. I didn't see that coming, but I'm excited for the game when we're really clicking on all cylinders. And again, I think this team's got a really high ceiling.
Coach, given how fatiguing the last 48 hours have been, how important is this 7-day break coming up between games?
Yeah, I think it's really important. We got work to do. And I know these guys, it's hard. It's so hard to really want to embrace practice right now. When, you go game, day off, day before, game, and it's just like, when's the last time? Well, last week, and we didn't maximize that opportunity. And so I think this week with their finals, we've got to make sure we do a great job balancing their schedules, and we got to be really efficient with their time on the court. It's not about how long we're on the court, but our focus, our intensity, and I think that's going to be huge for us this week as we try to finish this non-conference strong.
What advantages does a long week like this give you guys?
Well, I think, the last week was tough on these guys with the week before finals, and I don't know when it changed. It wasn't like that when I was in college, and that was just a few years ago. But it seems like the week before, there's just so much on their plates, and so finals week, to a certain degree, might be a little bit less crazy for some of them. But there's a blend in both. But I think having a little bit of a break after coming off two tough games of Baylor and Missouri State. It's going to be really important for us to kind of take a deep breath, recalibrate, get back to who we are, and finish this non-conference strong.
Any more questions? Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.